Hello guys, welcome back to ESENtaxa. Andrea Vito here, and in this video I'm going to reveal the way you can talk to the Italian tax agency, ask for tax clarification, ask for any kind of permission and the possibility to apply certain kind of tax regime. Yes, it's possible to ask all these things to the Italian tax agency, but with very specific procedures. And in this video I'm going to reveal the way you can talk to the Italian tax agency, ask in advance certain kind of level of consultancies, and here in ESENtaxa we help you exactly to provide this kind of document, because it's a formal procedure that has to respect a certain steps with certain templates, and we help indeed client, business and also individual to ask in advance if certain kind of tax regime could be applicable for their specific situation. If you're new in this channel, ESENtaxa talks about how to optimize your taxation if you want to move to a specific country in Europe, and we help people to understand tax-wise if the relocation makes sense for their pocket or not. In the description below the video you will find our calendar link to book a consultation with us, with me, with our team, with my colleague Fausto, and also you will find an academy, the ESENtaxa Academy, in which we teach you all the international tax matter, tax concept in very easy manner, which is extremely important and fundamental before approaching any tax consultancy with a grown-up level conversation in envisaging a specific relocation in a specific country, which is extremely important to understand and comprehend a lot about the international taxation, to talk with the same level of language with your tax advisor, which can be us, can be anybody else. Now, going back to the topic of this video, here I want to discuss about how you can talk to the Italian tax agency. There are 5 types of inquiry that you can do to the Italian tax agency, and this is extremely important to understand exactly how it works and how to classify them. The first type of inquiry, it's the ordinary one, and here it's basically the classical inquiry in which, for example, I'm a company and I want to ask if a new law regarding the VAT, for example, it's applicable or not on leasing contract. Okay, for example, I'm leasing renting my apartment. Do I have to apply? And I'm a company, I own an apartment. Do I have to apply VAT or not? So this kind of questions, it's the ordinary one, and this is the classical type of inquiry to the Italian tax agency, which is in Italian, has the Italian name of interpello. So basically, it's the classical one, it's the ordinary one, in which you can basically discuss, ask any kind of clarifications. Then we have the second typology, which is called probative interpello, and the taxpayer in this case can be an individual or a company, ask for a confirmation if that specific tax regime is applicable or not for his situation. For example, it's my property that I'm choosing, that I want to purchase, qualifies for the first home, classical example. So the probatory, it's specifically designed to see if you are eligible, let's say, for a tax regime, and this is also used for the high net worth individual tax regime. For example, there is the probatory interpello, which is translated in English, the probatory inquiry. Okay. Through this, you can basically, for 15 years, nobody's gonna bother you, because the probatory inquiry for the high net worth individual tax regime bind the Italian tax agency to not bother you anymore for 15 years, because they basically give you the permission in advance and give you the green light to apply the specific tax regime. Okay? For these two kind of inquiries, the first one, which is the ordinary, and the probatory one, you have to wait 90 days. And for both of them, if you don't get any reply after 90 days, it means that the proposition that you have suggest in the inquiry will be automatically accepted by the Italian tax agency. Okay, for the probatory and for the ordinary one. So 90 days after, with no reply, means that what you have proposed in your assumption will be accepted automatically. Now we have the third typology, which is the anti-abuse interpello or anti-abuse inquiry. And here it's when, for example, it's a company that plans, for example, to merge multiple companies and ask if a specific transaction during the merge of those companies, for example, are falling into the case of tax avoidance, basically. So I want to make sure that I'm not making any mistakes, I'm not avoiding taxes. So I'm asking in advance to the Italian tax agency, it's correct, this transaction, or I'm going to risk at your eyes, for your opinion, I'm going to make a tax avoidance. Okay, so this is called anti-abuse inquiry or anti-abuse interpello in Italian. Okay, and for this instead, there is 120 days of time to wait, and here you have to wait a precise reply. There is no possibility to give your assumption, but the Italian tax agency for this specific inquiry must to give you back a precise answer. Okay. Then we have the fourth typology, which is the non-application tax regime, or disapplicative, if we want to translate it in English somehow. And this is a classical example when basically I'm a shell company and with low revenue and in a specific tax haven country, but I need to be, let's say, controlled by a company which is in Italy, right? And I want to prove and show that this is a genuine business in the tax haven country. So I want that, I would like to ask the Italian tax agency to do not apply anti-avoidance tax rules. For example, CFC tax rules, controlling foreign company tax regime. So I'm asking to the Italian tax agency in advance, do not apply anti-avoidance tax rules on this specific situation, because here we have a genuine business running in a tax haven country. Just because a tax haven doesn't mean that I'm automatically evading taxes. So I can ask in advance, I can inquire in advance the tax agency also for this specific matter. Here we have 90 days of waiting for the reply, and here we can also there is no need to have a replication, just wait 90 days, and in this case you can give your proposition in a documentation, and if you wait 90 days with no reply, your proposition will be automatically accepted as well. And then we have the latest, the fifth one, which is the very brand new, introduced last year if I'm not wrong, and here it's called new investor inquiry. It's the brand new type of inquiry, a brand new type of interpello to talk to the Italian tax agency. Here's when an individual is moving the tax residence in Italy and asks in advance whether he or the company can apply a special tax regime on foreign source income. Be careful, this is not necessarily the one used for the high net worth individual, but probably the government is going to use this one as well in the future. So keep in mind this thing, but actually right now has been designed for new investors. They want to make sure that certain kind of income coming from abroad or certain kind of investment, let's take this example. This kind of, for example, I want to invest in startup. In startup companies requires me to respect a lot of criteria, a lot of constrained boundaries. So I want to make sure that I'm follow up, that my idea, my project, my investment in Italy, brand new investment in Italy will cover all the criteria, will respect all the criteria and the boundaries. And here we have 120 days waiting, and there is no assumption from your side, but there must be a precise replica, a precise response from the Italian tax agency. So I give you the overview of all the type of inquiry that you can do to the Italian tax agency. This instrument is extremely important because shields you for future tax audit, shields you from any kind of problem, and this is something that we're going to push a lot to our client, to our partner, to use this instrument, because basically It's a small investment that can be extremely helpful, because in the long term you're not going to have a problem, and you are sure that what you have implemented, because in Europe there are a lot of law at the top of each other. We have local law, national law, international European law, anti-avoidance tax European laws, and everything has to be cross-checked together, and sometimes we might miss things here and there. So giving the responsibility to the Italian tax agency to check your situation shields you, if you of course respect that business that you have described in the interpello itself, in the inquiry itself. Shields you forever, basically, for all the time you need to run your business, to move your tax residence, and make sure that legally you can optimize your taxes in Italy in this specific case. Here in ESENtaxa we can help you to prepare the interpello. It's a specific document, a template that must be written in a specific way. We need to attach specific documents, and of course with you we can discuss the way, shape, craft it, and finally submit it officially to the Italian tax agency. Of course, during this process, during the 90 days, 120 days, we might receive also some other extra documentation from the Italian tax agency. It could happen, and we can follow up this process up to the expiration date, up to the final 90 days, to 120 days, etc. etc. If you want to know more, you can write that at info@esentaxa.com, or again, in the description below the video, you have our calendar link. You can book a consultation with us. We can discuss about your project, your future relocation in Italy, and if you would like to talk to the Italian tax agency in a formal way, you can ask our help and do it straight away. Thank you, and if you don't forget to subscribe to the channel, notification bell, like button to be always updated whenever we release new kind of video like this one. See you to the next content. Bye.